you're going back to school, before you submit your essays, run it through Grammarly to quickly check for spelling, punctuation, or grammar.
Ladies and gentlemen, so sorry for that delay. I do apologize for that. Welcome everyone. Thank you guys all so much for stopping by. As always, my name is Eli. For those of you guys that don't know, I do weekly content Monday, Wednesday, Friday for you guys to watch, and Tuesday and Thursday is the day in which you guys ask any sort of questions that you may have in regards to everything going on in the world of Pokemon. Of course, I'm going to name the videos for the Q&A the same as the Q&A, just so that you guys have a general understanding of, hey, if you want to ask questions related to the last video, that's just how I've always structured it. But as always, you never ever have to just ask questions related to the video. You can ask questions about literally just about anything. So without further ado, let's just give a little shout outs to everyone and jump into it. Codex Card Guy, John Doe, Babe Cakes, and James S. Thank you guys all so much for being the early ones here. Hopefully you guys are all well. What's up, guys? Not much, but just no meeting, so I can chill here. Heck yeah, Babe Cakes. Well, it's good to see you. And then Codex has got his day off. Heck yeah. Anyone else listen to this at work? Well, like I said, that's one of the biggest compliments you can give me. There's the man, the myth, the legend, Eli. I appreciate that introduction there, John. But yeah, I something I want to say, which I thought was quite interesting, and it's very on theme from yesterday's video. And so I kept complaining about how there's been so many like premium like collection boxes that pertain to that pertain to just being like big box retail exclusive. And literally, what do you know? They just announced another box, Vmax Dragon Premium Collection, releasing at Target exclusive. Oh, and that's right. What do you know? What's inside the box, you may ask? Because it's called Vmax Dragons, right? So you're thinking, ooh, Vmax Dragons, that sounds pretty cool. You guys must have a really cool dragon promo that you're going to throw in there, right? Right? Oh, you'd be wrong. They're going to throw in a Duraludon, and you know what they're going to do as well? They're not going to throw in any Evolving Skies packs. And you know what Evolving Skies has in it? Dragons. So I just don't get it. I guess, you know, it's entirely possible the Pokemon company is saying, hey, here's all the junk product that we know LGSs aren't going to be able to sell. But I don't know, man. This product does not feature new cards. I mean, look, it's crazy. It's just crazy, man. It's just crazy. So, talk about on theme. Are you feeling more settled now in Arizona? I definitely am, I would say, for sure. It was interesting. It was dumping rain last night, and I think it's supposed to rain again today. Weather's been very interesting, but on the bright side, it was in the low to mid 80s yesterday, so it wasn't too hot. But I'm definitely starting to feel more settled in, for sure. You know, just chugging along with the LGS, trying to get that all set up. Obviously, I've been working with my designer for the new mystery pack designs for when those are going to be released next week. And then, of course, as well, I've got some new website designs that I'm going to be doing for Pokemart USA, which we're going to have a transitional design, which you guys will be able to see for a brief period of time until we give you the main design of the website. We're doing that, and then a couple other things with the business. We'll be adding some product relatively soon here, but I want to add all the product sometime next week once we have the new transitional design for what Pokemart is gonna look like for a little bit. And the reason why I call it a transitional design is because we just changed a couple of things with it, just so that we could offer, you know, when we do go back to bulk submission, that we could offer a in-store credit option for when people send in their bulk, and I just wanted to be able to do that. And then we have another design that we're creating for the new store, which is going to happen relatively hopefully within the next month or two. We should have that go live, and it's going to have a bunch of really cool new features to it that you guys I think are going to really like. But yeah, anything else out of the works for what I've really been doing? I mean, just like I said, settling in and just working away on a bunch of projects. So that's kind of been the main thing as it stands right now. Cash Hybrid finally caught your stream. Well, I'm glad you're here, man. Thank you so much for stopping by. Here in Missouri, it was pouring last night. Now it's in the 80s. Dang, dude. Shout out to my Missouri boy. What part of Missouri are you from? In Michigan, 80s yesterday, 60s today. Oof. How's the weather in the 80s when it's in Michigan? That sounds nice, but it also depends on where you are, depending upon, you know, altitude, humidity, so many factors. I gotta wonder. Do you think that the Pokemon Company is actually reprinting Cosmic Eclipse? If so, how far back do you think they're going to reprint cards? They're definitely not reprinting it. So basically what happened, Babe Cakes, is there was supposed to be a Cosmic Eclipse booster box reprint that was supposed to happen sometime leading into early 2021. But what ended up happening was, or was it 2021 or 2020? I'm trying to remember specifically, but they were supposed to have a reprint that was going to happen, and they ended up canceling the reprint because of supply chain issues. So I want to say 2021. I don't know. So because they had a reprint, I don't know if you guys remember, but they had a small reprint for Unbroken Bonds and Unified Minds, and that was during 2020 during the pandemic. And they're supposed to have one as well for Cosmic, but they never did. And so what they did is they took all the packs that they had, and they basically just said, hey, we couldn't reprint enough for booster boxes, but we've reprinted enough to where we can put it in product. So that's kind of what they did with those packs. So it's not a reprint. It's just an old print that got canceled. They're throwing product in. St. Louis, Missouri has the most random weather, so it appears. I feel like St. Louis, Missouri, when I ask people that are from Missouri where they're from, I feel like that's like 70% of what people say, and then some other random places. But yeah, no, another Vmax Dragon Premium Collection. I know everyone's extremely excited about that. So, super fun. They do say they have a preview box for Scarlet and Violet TCG, which is releasing in January. But what is that necessarily going to look like? Are they just going to have these two promo cards in the preview box? Because we still have our specialty set for Sword and Shield that we need to have. But Derek says, like Smash. Thank you so much, Derek. I appreciate you stopping by as always, brother. Love my Cosmic. You're telling me, man. Cosmic is still one of my favorite sets of all time. I mean, the nostalgia hasn't hit yet on it, so it doesn't have that nostalgia factor yet. But just from an art perspective, like, I mean, to be fair, a good portion of it is built around Gen 4-5. So that's my, you know, that is my nostalgia factor. But how do I want to say this? Nostalgia factor in the way in which I grew up with the set versus I grew up with the card types in the set, if that makes sense. Man, I need to start doing water bottles now. Last time I was on the live stream, I also had this issue. Summers are nice, especially since it's been a very dry season, not so humid as you experienced with AZ dry heat. Yeah, dude, it's been weird. It's been weird. Well, I mean, obviously I moved near the back end of it, so I haven't been able to feel much of it, especially when you're just indoors with AC all the time. But yeah, it's been weird. It's been weird. People said it's the most amount of rain they've ever seen. Do you like them bringing back EX cards, or rather see something new? That's a great question. I have no problem with them bringing back EX cards, you know, GX cards, EX cards, V-Star, VMAX. I could care less. Honestly, the only thing that I really care about is how the overall designs of those type of Pokemon are going to look. So, like, for example, you know, with GX, all GX was they just took Pokemon and they just slapped a GX next to it. And I feel like it didn't really do much in terms of creativity with design of Pokemon, but it did open the door for the opportunity for them to just do basic designs for shiny Pokemon, rainbows and such, which is fine. And then you obviously had your VMAX, which I think the concept of VMAX Pokemon was really dumb. Of course, that's just my personal opinion. Especially when you talk about the fact of if you played the actual game and you look at the scalability of the size of some of the Pokemon, it just didn't really make sense to me. And, you know, maybe you can say that's game limitation, but at the same time, it's like, then why would you do that if there's game limitation to it? However, in terms of the art designs they were able to create with the alternate arts, I think they did a really good job with that. Because when you looked at the like face value designs of the VMAX cards, I think the VMAX card designs like themselves were cool, but as someone who also played the games, when they turned into their VMAX forms or their Gigantamax forms, I thought it was kind of dumb how they just turned big and fat, unless you're talking about from a card perspective. I think it was a lot better applied on cards. But of course, with that, you know, I still had my issue from a lore perspective and a storytelling perspective, and that's where we're transitioning now into, for Scarlet and Violet, where you have EX card design that's fine and everything, but my biggest issue has less to do with EX and it has to do more with the crystal designs, because I think the crystals look extremely dumb when you just take crystals and throw them on their heads for Terras. It really upsets me because I think the opportunity that they could have had with this could have been absolutely incredible. You could have had so many cool crystal designs for Pokemon, kind of like if you remember back in the anime, they had the Onyx Crystal, or the Crystal Onyx. And I feel like they really missed opportunities to design Pokemon that would look very much similar to that. So, which is something that, you know, it upsets me that they really didn't take advantage of the opportunity to do something like that. And instead just said, hey, let's slap some crystals on top of their heads. That's what my biggest issue is. I could care less if they said EX next to it. It's more of how the art design is going to look in that regard. I can't wait. Silver Tempest. I'm gonna buy the booster box. I haven't gotten one, so I'm saving for that. Oh, dude, hybrid. I know. I'm excited for Silver Tempest. And the fact that it's going for pre-sale right now at $97, I think is kind of cheap. In all honesty, especially if it could be the second best set in the Sword and Shield era, in my opinion. I mean, who knows? We'll see, obviously, what the remaining cards are going to be for the second half. But I think it has an opportunity to be at least the second or third best set in the Sword and Shield block. And with that being said, I think that'll be a really good opportunity, because if you're saying that you're able to get in for sub $100 and you're getting a value of something like a Brilliant Star, which is going for around $150, you're getting a ton of value off of it, you know? So, not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but as we've talked about on this channel in terms of playing the wave and opportunities, I feel personally like this is one of those opportunities where you can play the wave here. Where were we gonna look? Yes, Cosmic Eclipse. Hey Eli, what's up, Jones Drew? I hope everyone is having a great day. Well, I hope you're having a great day as well, my guy. I want to bring back like Shiny Vault cards like Hidden and Shining Fates. They're definitely gonna do that. You know, that was actually a prediction that we had, or at least I had, in terms of what the most upcoming set was going to be for the VMAX or the V-Star Universe set, because there was like a dummy leak of a shiny VMAX Rayquaza, but of course, you know, come to find out it was just a dummy leak, and they revealed it twice, so it seemed to be confirmed at that time, but instead it's going to be alt arts. But I mean, you know, the Pokemon company, they're never going to stop having shiny sets, and the shiny vault is something they've seen has had extremely high demand, so I highly doubt they're going to stop something like that. But yeah, I mean, what is there to say about this set, Cosmic Eclipse? There's so much to love in it. There's just so much to love in this set, you know. Art designs are just off the charts here. Which set style would you like set brought back? For me, another legendary collection set would be Firework Hollows would be cool. I think one of the biggest ones I've harped on a lot is I think it'd be really cool if they brought back trainer cards. I think there's a lot of opportunity there for trainer cards. And what I mean by trainer cards is if they did like a remake set of like Gym Heroes. Or if they did a remake set of like Rising Rival cards. Like, obviously you can make an argument saying that character rares with like, you know, Red's Pikachu and the Pikachu in it, you can make an argument that that's like the modern day version of that. But I don't know, there's something about the old designs that I still think are quite cool, in terms of it just says in the name that it's that trainer's Pokemon, but I guess it's more implied with this one. But I don't know, maybe it's just more a nostalgic look. But Gym Challenge is my favorite next to Gym Heroes. I just like the fact that it says, you know, the gym leader's name or the character's name right next to it. I've always liked that, and then it has their little symbol at the bottom. I always thought that was cool. And then, of course, once again, when going to Supreme Victors, another good example. You know, Charizard, Cyrus, and then Cynthia's, Rayquaza, stuff like that. I've always liked these art designs. I know they're kind of simple because they just have the little head figure there, but I always liked them. I thought they were kind of cool. But that's just me. I feel like you can draw more sentiment to it because you enjoy the character itself. But to be fair, like if you're talking modern day version of those, you know, which would you rather have, a card that says Cynthia's Garchomp or have a full art trainer that has Cynthia and the Garchomp design on the back? Like, you know, it's really hard to say because I think they do a good job one way or another. Hey Eli, hold on one second. Who am I? Okay. Hey Eli, what's up, Lord Bulbasaur? Any timeline for when you'll post up ETB boosters combos for Silver Tempest? I don't have a timeline on what I'm going to be doing with that, and it might honestly be a little bit different this time around. I'll keep you guys posted on it because I know I'll be having a break for it, but depending upon what we do with the LGS, we might have to use some of the supply from my distributor for when we do our opening before, because we're gonna have, so the exact release date of the LGS is going to be right before Halloween, and we want to do a hard launch there, and then shortly after it we want to follow up with a big event for Silver Tempest, since it's going to be such a good set. And so the biggest thing with that is we have a bunch of local game store distributors that we're trying to get approved for, but I mean the approval time right now is crazy hard. So I might have to allocate some of that product to the opening of the store when we host a bunch of in-person events first. So I have no clue what that's going to look like in form of how much booster boxes and ETBs I'm going to list on the site. But like I said, we'll have the break. So the break is going to happen no matter what, but I'll have to keep you guys posted on what that kind of looks like for the sealed product on the site. So, but once we start opening up, distributors, and we're able to have a ton more because we have the local game store location, then things will be back to normal. So that's expected to happen only for Silver Tempest. Jones Drew says, I saw your video about Pokemon being green. It's crazy how much crap they're trying to fuse with collection boxes made for big stores. So here's my hypothetical prediction, Jones, and I could be off on this. And I don't know, maybe this is true, maybe this is not true, and it's dumb or smart, however you want to look at it. I think the Pokemon company realizes that with a lot of these garbage products at MSRP, that LGSs and online retailers are not going to make money off of it, and the prices of the product is going to tank. And they realize that because the product they are pushing out is garbage. There's a reason why, if you look at every single one that they pushed, only one of them has Evolving Skies. None of them have Evolving Skies. So they're just dumping garbage. Would you rather they, I guess, dump garbage to local game stores where they're not going to sell? Or would you much rather, have them dump these products to big box retailers, and those big box retailers have huge Black Friday sales where they're selling them for below wholesale? I guess that's the only rationale in my mind as to why they're doing it, so that they're leaving room for actual marginal product, like product with margin, that they can sell to online retailers and LGSs. Because when you think about the product in which the Walmarts and Targets of the world, what they're selling for, they're not only selling it for MSRP, but they're also able to buy it for below what general online retailers and LGSs are able to buy it for, because they're buying in such quantity that they're getting quantity discounts for that reason. And so I'm of the personal belief that MJ Holding, which is their distributor, it's a strategic play to more or less allow allow their crappy product to be pushed without it hurting a good portion of their base. And I could be off on that. Regardless of the fact of the matter, why would you create the product to begin with is my question to where we're having this game. I guess in their mind, they're trying to push more competitively viable cards, and they're hoping to do so with these promos. I just think there's so many better ways to go about doing that, personally speaking. But yeah, I just don't understand a good portion of it. And I'm trying to find a rationale because I'm trying to, I'm trying to defend them, but it's hard to defend what they're doing. Champions Path Charizard promo PSA 10 goes for $50, while I see a BGS 10 going for $350. Pop-up PSA is high, I know, but that's a big spread. And that's my biggest thing, Derek, that I've talked about when I've said many times before in terms of value grading promos and ultra modern cards. It's definitely going the route of BGS. I mean, I'm going to do a video pretty soon in the future here where I'm going to do an experiment and we're going to see what value you can get by sending in a bunch of promos and if it's something that's worth it. Because I do think that the spread there is crazy. And you're talking as just the regular 10. You're not even talking about the black label, which starts pushing upwards of $1,000. So it's definitely quite interesting to say the least. I'm low-key hoping they sit on the shelf so they can discount them like crazy. That would show Pokemon that there isn't much of a demand for specialty boxes if they're crap. I mean, you gotta ask yourself, is the Pokemon company really being ignorant and greedy, or are they very self-aware to the point of where they're doing this on purpose? Because there's no way there isn't someone in the product department that says, yes, I know that these Pokemon characters are absolute crap, but we're going to still push them to big box retailers because we know it's going to be a lot better for them to discount them than it is for LGSs and online retailers. Like, there's no way that they're like, oh yeah, well, our Pokemon fans are dumb. They're going to buy anything because of the demand. Like, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they are like that, but at that point they'd be living in 2020 and we're in 2022 and things are different, much different, you know? Champions Path packs are $10. About how long do you think it will take Celebrations packs to reach $10? A year. I feel like a year is pretty spot on with it. I mean, you can honestly see it happen in 6 months, but I think a year is a conservative prediction. How long have you been collecting? I've been collecting for about 1 year and collecting somewhere around 1,700 cards. I have a shiny Charizard VMAX, both in great condition, ungraded though. Hey, that's okay though. Ain't nothing wrong with it being graded versus ungraded. How long have I been collecting for? Well, it's been a very on and off thing for me. So when I first started collecting, I was around 7 or 8 years old. And I got in the EX era. I still remember the first product I ever bought. It was a Tyranitar EX tin, special promo tin from Walmart. And then my brother got the other one, which was a Ho-Oh. And I remember I got nothing from my packs, and my brother pulled a Mew Gold Star from Dragon Frontiers, which is in terrible condition now, hurts the heart to say it. And then my first ever theme deck was a Torterra theme deck, which is why Torterra is one of my favorite Pokemon. However, one of my first tins I ever got was a Lilex tin, and then one of my first booster box quantities I ever purchased was Stormfront. So, you know, I grew up mainly in the EX and Black and White, EX and Diamond and Pearl era, and then I played. I quit after Next Destinies for a while. I entered a tournament, a regional tournament, because I used to play the card game quite competitively. I won the tournament and got some like pre-sale stuff for Japanese product for Next Destinies, and it had like a Mewtwo EX promo in it, and I was like, yo, this is kind of lame. Like, I don't really care about EXs that with these designs. I thought they were kind of dumb. Of course, I ended up missing the Plasma era, which, you know, I guess I can say I regret looking back on it, but I don't really regret it that much because, looking back on it, the XY era was one of the worst eras that we've ever had. So I missed out on that. I remember I tried coming back around the Evolution era, but it just wasn't there. I opened a couple of products here and there, but it just wasn't fun for me to collect. It wasn't really until Hidden Fates and Cosmic is when I really came back. Those were the two sets that drew me back in. So I absolutely fell in love with those sets. And then 2019 until now is kind of when I started collecting again. But yeah, no, I mean, in terms of Pokemon, I've been collecting Pokemon forever, I guess, in that term. I just, take breaks from here and there just because Pokemon Company puts out good product, Pokemon Company doesn't put out good product. The difference is now that I own my own store, obviously, I just have waves in which I'm collecting certain products over time, and then I'm just selling it, because you can always sell, but you don't always have to collect, That's how I kind of look at it. But I appreciate art from every era, though. I had some WotC product that I was given to me a while ago as a kid from one of my cousins who quit playing Pokemon, and so he was like, here's some WotC era. It was pretty garbage. He didn't have anything good, but it was still like cool as a kid, to have older WotC era product. But yeah. What is your favorite Pokemon era? Oh, well, that answers that, bro. It's hands down Diamond and Pearl, which arguably is the worst era of all time. It was such a bad era, and it's my favorite from a nostalgic perspective. I love Level X's. I think Level X's hold a place in my heart. But if you want to talk about some of the sets that were in that era, they were not good sets. I think XY might be the only one that's going to beat it. I think if you were to range some of your best eras versus worst eras, I would say probably XY is probably going to be near the bottom. And then, Diamond and Pearl era is going to be right there with it. Platinum era was incredible. They did a great job with the Platinum era. And don't get me wrong, Diamond and Pearl era has some incredible sets such as Majestic Dawn and Stormfront. And Secret Wonders, but there's a lot of really lackluster sets such as, Base Set, Mysterious Treasures, Great Encounters. But once again, you talk about XY and what they had a ton of lackluster sets as well. At the time, whether you want to crap on Base Set or Double Crisis or Breakthrough or Breakpoint, or there's a lot that a lot of people had disdain for the XY era, especially in terms of art design. But Platinum really turned it around. Platinum did a great job in terms of this era. It is more or less the Diamond and Pearl series. That was that. So, especially it depends on what kind of art designs you were a fan of. But it's my favorite. I mean, as someone who's a huge Evolution fan, Majestic Dawn was the first Evolution set. That's what makes it such a great set. And in my personal opinion, I do think that if you transparently look at the Diamond and Pearl era and you say, hey, there's a lot to hate here, and maybe you say to yourself, well, if you look at XY, and why do you say XY is worse than Diamond and Pearl? And Diamond and Pearl, I'm excluding from Platinum, because if you combine Platinum and Diamond and Pearl, then it changes the way in which you look at the era as a whole, because it's a lot better of an era by that regard. So maybe we can look at it from that perspective. But if you look at it from how many sets were in Diamond and Pearl, and if you want to combine Platinum, you can, versus all of XY, there's so many more sets in the XY era compared to those two just combined eras. And so when you have just a couple of bad sets, it's weighted a lot more heavily because they weren't pushing out sets as much compared to as they are nowadays. And so with XY, it's not just that, they're pumping out a bad set, but they have so many sets, and the fact that they're missing on so many of them is an issue. And with the, Majestic Dawn set, it's an amazing set. If you're a huge Eevee fan, you would love this set. It's got Leafeon and Glaceon. It's got Umbreon. It's got the trio birds in it. If you're a Gen 4 fan, it has, of course, the Gen 4 legendaries in it. It's got Espeon. It's got Flareon. Obviously, if you're a Rotom fan, but, it's a Rotom. It's got Jolteon. It's got all of the Evolutions in the set outside of Sylveon because it wasn't available at the time. And so as someone who's a huge Evolution fan, I think this set does a great job. And I think what I love about it the most, personally, is I love the art designs of them in the snow. I think it's so cool of them in the snow design. And I love the just way in which they were creative with it. Because if you look at Flareon, right, the snow is forming around it in a way in which it's melting because of its heat. Glaceon is embracing the snow. Espeon, obviously, is at the sunrise. Umbreon is at night. It's very much like they're playing on that theme, and I think they did such a good job in terms of the artwork within the set. Of course, Jolteon is in a cavern and keeping it bright. I mean, there's just a lot. There's just a lot that I really enjoy with this set. But if we're being transparent on what some of the best sets of all time are, like if you're looking at it from an era perspective, and like I said before, if you really want to, you can bring in and combine Diamond, Pearl, Platinum, then I would say probably number one, I gotta say Sun and Moon is probably the best era of all time. I would then say probably the EX era would be next after that. I would say the EX era would probably be to follow with that. EX had some great art designs, especially when you talk about the second half with the gold stars. You know, obviously XY put at the bottom. You know, Sword and Shield, I'd probably put it somewhere near the middle bottom if I were to place it, you know. It's just where would you tier it on the way up, you know, that's the question. In terms of black, white, I'd probably put it middle of the road. Like, it was a set you can make an argument that was underappreciated, but also as well, it had some sets that were just not good. Like Emerging Power is one of the worst sets of all time. Black and White, I mean, I will give it its love because it was the first set to introduce, you know, full arts, and the full art designs were cool, but there's a lot of really lackluster sets. But you know, it did breed some really cool ones like Plasma Freeze and, you know, Legendary Treasures and, you know, Dragons Exalted, and if you're a Dark Explorers fan, Dark Explorers or Plasma Storm. So it had some good sets. I mean, it really did. You know, there's just a lot to really there's a lot really to just compete with, I guess, in terms of that. Yeah, I mean, to answer that, I'd say Diamond and Pearl for sure. If you guys want to, I can go through and give my like tier ranking, and I can tell you which one I think, so because I think that'd be fun, something to do. What's your thoughts on hearing more reprints of Zard UPCs coming? Do you think they'll print a ton of this? Yes, they will. I think John Doe, I could be off base. I haven't heard anything about them reprinting more, but my expectation is this is the set that, hey, we obviously had to move on from Celebrations. So in as a kind of a peace offering to you guys, we're going to make available the UPC to everyone at a lot more of an affordable price, and they're going to print it into the ground. Could be wrong, but who knows. Would you rather have a first edition Jungle booster box or one case of Evolution booster boxes? I think I'd pick up the Jungle, but Evolution has a ton more cards, so I want to know what you would pick. What do you mean Evolution booster boxes? Like, which one? Are you talking about Evolving Skies? Are you talking about Plasma Freeze? Are you talking about Majestic Dawn? Like, when you say Evolution booster boxes, which ones are you referencing? I wasn't able to make it to your last live. Have you given any updates about your next mystery packs? Yes, I will be releasing them next week, Joan. I haven't announced the exact date yet because I'm still waiting to hear back from my graphic designer. But he's going to be changing up the graphic design for this next one because we are going to lower the odds. We're going to raise the price by $10, but we're going to drop the odds. So instead of 1 in 25 for gold packs, it's going to be 1 in 16, and then we're dropping silver from 1 in 10 to 1 in 8. So just think about it this way. I mean, we're very much scaling the percentages of how we're doing it, right? So like with the red packs, 20% higher chance now of pulling something good. Silver packs, 20% chance of pulling something good. And then with gold packs, I mean, you're talking, what, 30%, 35? I mean, we can do the math here. But we purposely weighted it so that you would have a much better chance of getting the gold packs. Like, that was kind of the way in which we wanted to structure it equally. So if we go, 16 divided by 25, 36%. Yeah, we did that on purpose. So 20, 20, and then 36. We wanted to make sure that we can give out more gold packs. That was kind of the concept of the way in which we're structuring it. So we're going to be changing the art designs a little bit. I'm building my collection just basically to sell. I mean, hey man, definitely, if it's a long-term play, why not? I'd still appreciate the art. Diamond and Pearl was when I was born. Legend Awaken was released the day I was born. Dang, you're a little... Legends Awaken was the... Alright, let me do some quick maths here. So that's what, 08? Dang, so what are you, 14 then? That's crazy. If I remember correctly, TCG Diamond and Pearl set was released in 2007, 2008. Couldn't get in due to the financial crisis during the time. Kind of wish I did though. Yes, exactly, Brian. That was kind of the biggest thing, is that was during the time of the financial crisis. And so I feel like there was definitely a lot of underappreciation for that era. For both, I feel like Black and White got less underappreciation than Diamond and Pearl, because at least with Black and White, there was like, I don't know, man. It's hard. It's hard because there's a lot of underappreciation for that whole block. Like Diamond and Pearl all the way to Black and White. Because Call of Legends is an incredible set, right? You know, Heart Gold, Soul Silver era, I know people at the time were absolutely crapping. Like, it's funny to think about it now that people appreciate the artwork, but people were crapping on Legend cards during the time. So there was a lot of hate going around for a lot of the cards, because it was one of those things where all of the like collectors were out of the hobby and it was all competitive players. And so people hated legend cards because they're like, oh, who cares about legend cards? I need a card that's going to be broken in the meta. So it was like, well, that was kind of a lot of the people that were in. And maybe I'm wrong because, you know, I was surrounded by a bunch of people that just cared about competitive play. But I think that's just kind of what it was at the time, because, you know, collectability, it was just not really there. Especially after the Diamond and Pearl era. Pika, thank you for stopping by, brother. Hope all is well with you. John Doe says, you mentioned before, I forget, what's your 5 favorite Pokemon games? What's my 5 favorite Pokemon games? Oh, well, I can tell you if you want me to rank my top 5. Platinum, I think, is my #1 favorite. Emerald is my 2nd favorite. It's very close though, because I absolutely love Emerald. I think Emerald's a really good game. I would say probably Black or White too. You could go with either or, honestly. I don't really have a preference. I would say I started to appreciate Reshiram more. Zekrom was my first favorite because it was White was the first one I got. But then I got White too, so I was able to appreciate Reshiram. So I really did like that game a lot. But then, I mean, I do have a love and appreciation for Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, just because, you know, I think it was remakes done right. I think with the Delta series, I think it was really cool to add more to the game. I think it was really cool what they did with the Dex Nav. That was awesome. I think they did such a good job with that. I think that the design in which you're able to fly around with the EOS flute, I think was cool. I think with IV training was really cool. So in terms of like an all-around aspect game, I think they did an incredible job as far as remakes go with Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. And then I love Megas, and so implementing that in a remake game like that, I think they did a good job. Like, you have to look at it from that transparent perspective on the like content you were able to add for a remake. They did a good job, which is why I think Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl is arguably one of the worst Pokemon games they've ever pushed. And that is coming from someone who says Platinum is my #1 favorite game. Maybe I'm being too critical of it, but they literally just made it. They just took a remake, didn't add anything new to it other than expanding the underground, and then just said, here you go, we're going to give you an Chibi form. And that was it. Like, it was terrible. And I'm not going to spend my money on that. But, you know, Heart Gold, Soul Silver, man, how do you not put there in the top 5? So I would say, in order, I would say Platinum, Emerald, Heart Gold, Soul Silver. And then I would say White 2, and then I would say probably Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire. Not the biggest fan. I mean, I never played Sun and Moon era. Sun and Moon is the only game I never played. So you have to take that with a grain of salt. You know, Sword and Shield, I think what they did with the wild area was a cool concept, but the storyline was so bad, and you know, let's hand everything to you and walk. It's very handhold game. I don't like that aspect about it. XY era game, you know, it's cool and introduced, obviously Megas, but, you know, other than that, very handholdy game once again, and it was the start of handholdy games, which is annoying. You know, the classics obviously are up there. Like, you know, if you're talking about just the originals, you know, Yellow, red, blue, like, and then of course remakes Fire Red, Leaf Green. Like I put those in the 6. Like if you were talking about, you know, pushing past the top 5, I think they did a great job, but it's hard to really put them on a scale compared to the other ones that I put in my top 5, just because they had so many more aspects that were able to be taken away from their time, you know. And in terms of remakes for Fire Red, Leaf Green, it's definitely one of the weaker remakes that they've made. And don't get me wrong, it was during the Game Boy era, so it's like, you know, maybe you can say it's a victim of its time, you know, because they did just so much more in terms of remakes for like Heart Gold, Soul Silver, and Omega Ruby, Alpha Sapphire. But I wouldn't say it's a victim of its time necessarily, because if you look at what they did with remakes for Brilliant Diamond, Shining Pearl, which is in the most newest era, there's no excuse for that, you know. Hope everyone's day is well. My day is well. Hopefully yours is too, my guy. Jay's Booza, Holland Phantoms, Legend Maker, Deoxys, Team Rocket are some of the best sets. Oh, big time. Yeah, I mean, like I said, man, that's why I would say that you have to put EX Era up there. Like, I mean, you can either put, you know, and this is me personally, you can either put Sun and Moon first or EX Era first. I think that's kind of it for like the number 2. I think I think that they're far and away the best, like the best 2, hands down. Like I know a lot of people have a lot of sentiment towards Neo, but I mean, and it's a good set, don't get me wrong, but you know, EX Era is incredible. EX Era is incredible. The only reason why I would say I put Sun and Moon above it is just because Sun and Moon Era, you know, once again, victims of their time. Sun and Moon, you're able to expand upon it more because there's more generations for you to make art designs for, and then the art expression was done so much greater. But EX Power Keepers, considering the fact of the matter, or you know, EX Deoxys, EX Crystal Guardians, Dragon Frontiers, for what they had for their time, they did an incredible job. They did such a good job, and that's why it still is going to hold up. Thanks, John. If you were looking to hold products 5 years, would you currently rather invest in a Vivid Voltage booster box that's going out of print, or an Astral Radiance / Lost Origins? I would much rather look at it from current day perspective. That's a great question. I feel like you have to look at it from this perspective, John Doe. How strong do you think alternate arts are going to be in the future, and how much value are they going to add? And that's the real question you're going to have to ask yourself. Because even if we look at the current history of time and say that Vivid Voltage has been the number 1 strongest performing set in the Sword and Shield era, and people might say, what are you talking about, Eli? No, Evolving Skies has. It's not true. Evolving Skies, although it of course has consistently pushed $200, Vivid Voltage at one point was pushing $240 until it got printed into Oblivion. Evolving Skies has not been printed into Oblivion the same way Vivid does. And after it got printed into Oblivion, it dropped from $240 down to $120 and then went all the way up to $170 and was climbing to push back $200 again. Vivid has performed extremely well as a set. So, you know, it's hard for me not to say, wow, Vivid has performed extremely well. Why wouldn't you go over Vivid versus these other two? I guess at that point, I'm saying to myself, what is more valued? The alternate art designs from those 2 sets, or Vivid Voltage having a Rainbow Pikachu? And history is telling me, as it stands right now, Vivid Voltage. But, you know, I think in the future, alternate arts are going to be the design. And if I'm being honest, John Doe, the fact of the matter that you have a set like Silver Tempest, which is like 99% certain going to have a Lugia in it, and the pre-sale prices are for $97.50 right now, which is the same prices as Astral, which is cheaper than Lost Origin. I think that right now is easily my number 1 pickup for booster box. Not even close. I think it is so far and away a better pickup at that point. And so for me, it has nothing to do with the fact that Vivid Voltage is about to go out of print, because maybe you can make an argument that it's going to start to accumulate faster because of that. But for me, I would much rather say to myself, am I going to get a set that's still in print and I'm going to be able to get it in at a good opportunity, knowing that it's going to perform better just long term? Because it's like, let me ask you this. If you had said to yourself, right, if you had said to yourself, which would you have preferred to have when we're talking about being in rotation versus out of rotation? And maybe this is an unfair comparison to make, But you say to yourself, would you much rather have a Rebel Clash or would you much rather have an Evolving Skies? I think the argument would be Evolving Skies, hands down. And you know, Rebel Clash, although Rebel Clash right now is, I think it's either the most expensive or the second most expensive Sword and Shield era booster box. How much is it putting in at? It's pushing $230. Okay, so, you know, it's, you know, what, $30 more than Evolving Skies? And it's going to go out of rotation, whereas Evolving Skies is not. And Evolving Skies is more than likely going to get a reprint that's going to cause the price to drop. You know, where would I stand on that? You know, it's easily Evolving Skies because of the fact of the matter that sure, Rebel Clash is going to go out of rotation soon. You know, maybe, like I said, it's a bad comparison. Maybe it's, you know, apples to oranges. You can compare Vivid closer to Astral Radiance and Lost Origin. But I guess I feel like it's still an easy example to get across the point that I'm trying to make, which is more or less of the fact of the matter that when I'm comparing a good set that is in rotation versus a bad set that is about to go out of rotation, it doesn't matter to me as much. So I'm trying to despair with that. The only reason why I'm taking a second to think about it is not because I'm saying Vivid Voltage is a bad set by any means, but it's because it's a set that doesn't have alternate arts. That's literally all it comes down to. And that's a variable I take very, very, like, I don't take it lightly. So, yeah, I mean, Silver Tempest, man. I think you got to say Silver Tempest is going to be the play. Take away the overprinted Sword and Shield, by far best air in my opinion. I cannot agree with that, man. Don't get me wrong, like, it's cool with what they've done with alternate arts, and it's definitely like a fine middle of the road set, but you gotta imagine, man, Sun and Moon era, Sun and Moon had alternate arts. Sure, they weren't pushed as heavily as they were in the you know, Sword and Shield era, but you know, if we want to go just, sorry, I'm shaking the table. I know I'm doing that. I can already tell because I fidget a lot. But it already had alternate art designs. You know, it was not the first to come up with alternate arts. That was the Sun and Moon era. Unbroken Bonds. We're going to see the Gardevoir design, if I'm correct. Yep, Gardevoir and Sylveon, alternate art. Greninja Zoroark alternate art, Marshadow Machamp alternate art. So it's like, sure, you can say that the alternate arts for Sword and Shield era are more, you know, detailed, but these are still gorgeous alternate art designs, and the sets as a whole are just created so much better, I think, than Sword and Shield, you know? But that's just me, of course. That is just me. Because there's just so many more characters to love in all these sets, you know? And there's so many more sets to love. It's just you can't compete in that way. Maybe he's talking about XY evolutions. Oh, interesting. It's possible. Yeah, that's what I meant. I'm bad at spelling. Oh, you're all good, dude. Would I much rather have an evolutions case, or would I much rather have a first edition jungle? Yo, do we got a mod in the chat? We got a spam bot. I feel like it's easy. I feel like you still go with jungle. And I think the reason why you would still go with jungle is just because the fact of the matter is I think evolutions. I think it's currently extremely overpriced, and I think the value of it is going to tank farther down over the recessionary period than jungle is, because jungle has already taken a pretty fat hit in terms of its price correction, and so I do think it has some more downside to go, but not nearly as much as evolutions, which is still considered a modern set. It's not ultra modern, but it's still a modern set. And so by that means, I think it has a lot of inflated value in its price. And there's not a ton of scarcity. There's just so much of it floating around, and people don't realize that. Will there be limits on how many packs we can buy from you? No, there's not going to be, Jones Drew. There's not going to be limits for if you're referencing the mystery packs. No. I'm not even kidding you guys. I spent well over $10,000 for these mystery packs because I was saying to myself, all right, if we sell 100 and it sells out quick, then I will have enough to make another 100. Or if it doesn't, then that's fine. I'll have some more for later mystery pack, for later mystery packs. But as it stands right now, I'm very much so in the boat of, from what people were saying in the poll that I took, they very much like the $50 price tag for the value that you were going to be getting out of it at such higher rates of pulling gold and silver packs, to the point of where it made me feel as if there could be a greater demand for these, you know, especially since I was still able to more or less hit my marks for the old mystery packs. Not to mention too, if it is one of those things where people do like buy up a ton of it all at once, I'm gonna have enough for everyone. And if I don't have enough for everyone, well, then I'm gonna just start pumping them out in such a greater scale, to the point of where I will start to put limitations, but it'll be at a limitation. Like, unless you're literally telling me someone's going in and buying 30 of them and reselling them, which I highly doubt that. I'm not there yet as a YouTube creator like Pokerev for people to do that. So there's going to be plenty of opportunity, I feel like, for people to buy as much as they want. I just picked up the Evolution VMAX boxes from Walmart. Is this from old stock or new print? I heard there are new code cards inside the packs. Do you think they'll ever be readily available? They'll be more readily available. I don't know, man. I mean, obviously we talked about that in yesterday's video, so who absolutely knows? I'd like to believe that they are aware of the demand for this product, and so they're going to start pushing it out more. But so far it seems as if it's only popped up in Walmart. I'd love to hear news if someone says they found it in Target. That would be awesome to see. But it sounds like people just find them in their local Walmarts and they just have a small amount of them. 14, I really want the set just to have it. Not because I like the set, but because it was released on my birthday. Oh, that's really cool. Oh, well, I'll tell you what, man. For my mystery packs, for the Pokemon USA official mystery packs, just a little bit more of a tease. But we've got quite a bit of Legends Awakened. I mean, we've got quite a bit of everything, but we got quite a bit of everything. As you can see, that is an Unleashed booster box. So I kind of went ham here, guys. So hope you're a fan of EX era, Diamond and Pearl, and Heart Gold Soul Silver era. I mean, I'll still include WotC era packs. Like, don't get me wrong, guys. I'll still include it. But recently, I've been doing mainly WotC era as kind of like the main polls. So I think adding EX is cool. I've had a lot of people say they want EX, and then I think the only two packs that I've included for Diamond and Pearl era was I included one Stormfront and one Arceus, which those are great. Like, those are incredible sets. But I want to add some more to it as well. I want to add some more. I want more diversity. You know, I don't want it to be where you guys feel like you're just pulling the same gold packs. I want there to be a ton of different gold packs that you guys can pull. What's up, Scratch'em? How are you doing, brother? Thanks for stopping by. Somehow I got 2 minutes behind. Oh, that's weird. Spencer said, EX era is my number one. Too many iconic cards. It's a great era. I'm not going to argue with it. Trax Phantom, elbow, cough, cough, elbow, cough, cough. What the heck, man? Virtual hug, coughs, and then gives a virtual hug. You got this? Oh, thanks, Trax. Thanks for stopping by. Woohoo! Just got my email confirmation from you guys about My bulk, thank you. Yeah, congratulations. Yeah, we should be in the process of, in the next 7 to 10 days, having everyone's bulk paid out. We've got a queue for it. Gennaro, hi Eli, what's up, Gennaro? How are you doing it? Or Gennaro, sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. What's your rank from least to best? Evolving Skies, Lost Origin, Astral Radiance, Brilliant Stars, Silver Tempest. We don't know yet, Zookeeper, with Silver Tempest, so I can't give you that answer. But if I were to say right now, it goes Evolving Skies, it goes Brilliant Star, it goes Lost Origins, and then Astral Radiance, if you're putting it in that rank. Silver Tempest, I have a feeling, is going to rank somewhere between Brilliant Star and Lost Origin. It's going to either be below or above Brilliant. That's just my thing. ADP Altart is the best. Mine would be Astral, Lost Origin, Silver Tempest, Brilliant Stars, Evolving Skies. Interesting. So you're an exact opposite of me. So Astral Radiance is your favorite. Is that just because of price point and able to get good pulls, or is that because of art design? I definitely love sets with Altarts. My only thought, though, to help Vivid is it's the only set with main chase Pikachu. I wonder how long until another main chase. And that's going to add a ton of value. And that's my whole point with that, John Doe, is it's so hard for me not to, like, go with Vivid just based on the fact of the matter that history has shown that Vivid is the #1 performing set. I think Silver Tempest could change that, though, just based on the fact that you're able to get it for such a good price. Did you get another allocation of Charizard UPCs? I have not yet, but I keep having people ask me that, so I have a feeling there's potentially one incoming. What's a good price range for Lost Origin Booster Box? Under $100, for sure. Like, if you're going 95 to 92, I would say that's probably what my favorite range is. If we look at what Lost Origin Booster Boxes are going for right now, they're going for in the ballpark of 96, 95. So they're, you know, it's not a bad price if you want to go in and buy it for $97. I'm not going to fault you for it, but I like it a little bit cheaper, like 95, 90. Just because Silver Tempest is still Silver Tempest. At that point, I'd much rather buy Silver Tempest. But if you're saying that you just want to open Lost Origin, then I'm not going to fault you at that price. But yeah, it's crazy to me how cheap this is going for right now. Do you think after the supply chain issues that Pokemon has now changed the print runs to first print being largest? That is exactly what they've had that they've done, John. But it's weird because they're adjusting to demand because the print runs have gotten smaller, right? So with Wave 1 and Wave 2 was typically how they did it. And be 45 for Wave 1, 45 for Wave 2. Or if they broke it into 3 waves, it'd be 45 for Wave 1 and then like 20 for Wave 3 and then 25 for Wave 2. So 90 is how it would look for me. But now they're doing it like 65, 70 booster boxes a set. So in regards to that, they very much dropped it by... what, 30% is how much they dropped it by. So the overall print has drastically gone down, even though they're pumping out more for first wave, because there is no second or third. So I do find that quite interesting. Oh, get this. You guys want to hear something crazy? I went into my Target, and I found some Trick or Trade packs, and I literally was like, ooh, there was like a whole shelf full of Trick or Trade packs. And I was like, ooh, I want to buy one. And I literally was like, oh, well, I'll wait until I leave the store because we still had some other things we wanted to do going shopping for Target. And then Holly's like, my fiance, she's like, oh, yeah, well, you better hope they don't buy them all up. Haha. And I'm like, yeah, haha, someone would do that. I kid you not, I leave. We go shopping for 10 minutes, come back. There's 5 left. And there was like probably 40 at one point. And I was like, holy crap. I am so glad that there was at least enough for me to grab one because someone literally came in, bought all of them up, and then just walked away. And I'm like, dude, that's so messed up. I mean, you only need a couple. It depends on what you're trying to do here, but I don't know, man. Crazy to me. Would that mean that rainbows are more sought after than gold cards? Pikachu from Vivid versus Pikachu from Lost Origins? No, that's not necessarily what it means, Scratchem. It means that rare... So here's the thing. It comes down really to scarcity as an aspect. If you were to go in, Scratchem, and you were to flip-flop the cards, and you were to say there was a Rainbow Pikachu in Lost Origin versus a black and gold was the main pull, I think the black and gold would perform better still in Vivid Voltage. But that's just mainly because, one, the pull rates are so much harder for that Pikachu in Vivid, which gives it a level of value for a chase card. And then two, as well, the black and gold is part of the trainer gallery set, so it changes its value. You know? So I'm saying if you were to flip-flop the pull rates and flip-flop it being a centerpiece of the set, then I would definitely say that, you know, the black and gold would be the best. Or if you said the character rare became an alt art design and it was the alt art pull for Vivid Voltage, it would honestly probably increase its value, if anything. It just comes down to the fact that it's not one of the main pulls in the set. It's not the main pull in the set. It's one of the like main character rare subset pulls, but it doesn't have that same level of scarcity, you know? No problem, dead guy. Anvil, thank you so much for stopping by, brother. What were you expecting for ST booster boxes to be selling for now? I was not expecting them to be selling already for $97. I was expecting them to sell maybe for $105, $110. So the fact that they're selling for $97 right now is really intriguing to me. I think that's awesome. I think that's great because I think you're going to see the exact same thing happen. I think you're going to see the exact same thing happen with Silver Tempest as we saw with Brilliant Stars. And so for those people that don't remember what happened with Brilliant Stars booster boxes, Brilliant Stars booster boxes were, they started off at around the 115-ish range on TCG Player, which means you can get them for 105, 110 other places. And then what ended up happening, well, at one point they went all the way up to 170 on pre-sale price right before the set was released. I think you're going to see that with Silver Tempest. I think this is our 97.50 range. And I think this is going to, maybe go up to 130, 140, 150. It's a big range, but it depends how volatile it is based on what's in the set. I think Lugia is that Charizard card. I think Lugia holds a ton of weight. So that's just my opinion on it. Charizard has dropped so much. Yeah, oh yeah, big time. Charizard has definitely dropped a ton. It's kind of hard to hear you, but did you say Lost Origin will only have one print run? No, I said that Lost Origin has had one print run. I'm not saying it will only have one. I'm saying currently speaking, it has only had one. I expect it to have more in the future. I went to Target yesterday and a dude had like 5 of the 2020 advent calendars in his cart and a bunch of Halloween packs. Like, dang. Yeah, dude, I grabbed 2 advent calendars and 1 of the Halloween stuff. 1 advent calendar for myself, 1 for my fiance, and then the Pokemon packs. I was originally going to say to give out to the kids, but I'm going to be back in Bend when we open the local game store for Halloween, so I'm going to be at the store, and my partners already have a ton, so I guess it'll be for me to just put out in a bucket when kids come by my house back in Arizona. After seeing Lost Origin, how do you compare the set to Brilliant Star? Well, I still think Brilliant Star, so I think Brilliant Star has better... that's a great question. That's a great question, man. I mean, let's just take a look and compare, right? When you look at Lost Origin as a whole, here's my problem. Here is my greatest problem, right? When I look at Lost Origin as a whole, and I click the wrong button, I say to myself, I feel like I'm getting a ton of the same pulls because of the fact that the alternate arts are so hard to pull. And so it's the same old, I got another gold Zoroark, I got another gold Giratina or another gold card, I got another Rainbow V-Star. And that's just because the pull rates are so atrocious for the alt arts, right? And my biggest issue I have with Brilliant Star, at least from my personal experience, I know people have had different experiences, I am pulling the same old rainbows, which is the Whimsicott, the Shaman, and not the Charizard. So I guess the real question is, though, from what I've experienced versus what other people have experienced, how do you look at it in that way? Because if I say to myself, my experience from opening both sets, I would say Lost Origin is my favorite from experience. But if I were to transparently look back and say based off of what the general market consensus has been, then you have to say Brilliant Star is better. Just because the fact of the matter is it's a lot easier for you to pull those Rainbow Charizards and the Alt-Art Charizard and Arceus and so on and so forth. That is kind of the way in which I look at it in that regard. But then also the exact same time, right? When you're comparing both sets as a whole, and obviously Lost Origin just came out, so prices are going to be overinflated. But the supply of this set is so much thinner than Brilliant Star, and Brilliant Star is an expensive set, and Lost Origin is not. And it's still not been out for that long. And when you look at the main pulls you can get in the set, it's very attractive that you're able to get the Pikachu cards, right? Those are very attractive. And when we go over to Brilliant Star's trainer gallery, don't get me wrong, as an Eevee fan, I love Umbreon and Sylveon, but there's something about that Pikachu art design that I feel like looks so much cooler and obviously adds a ton of value from a pull rate. And so there's an argument to be made that the trainer gallery is better than Lost Origin. With that being said, considering the fact that Lost Origin is at a price point of around $97-ish to $95, and Brilliant Star is at a price point of $150, it's hard not to say that Lost Origin is incredible value considering we're putting it so close comparing it to Brilliant Star. The real question you gotta just ask yourself is how much value do you put on the fact that there's a Charizard in the set compared to the fact that there's a Pikachu in the trainer gallery for the other set. And I would say that Pikachu trainer gallery is not as valuable as Charizard main slot, especially because they also have a Lance's Charizard in the character rare slot, and we see how that's valued at. So, but it's close. I mean, we're having that debate, we're having that conversation where it's close, so that should tell you where I put Lost Origin as a set in terms of value. I honestly feel as if the alternate art pull rates weren't as bad, I feel like it would be far and away a better set as a whole. But yeah, that's just me on how I think of it. I don't know. I'm saving my money by the end of the year for specialty sets. Hey man, it's definitely not a bad play, especially when Black Friday is coming around the corner. Gotcha. Woo. I think it's safe to bet to expect to chase Alt-Art Lugia. 100% agree. That's why I'm so high on Silver Tempest at its current price point, and I'm not going to shut up about it. I'm not going to shut up about it. Silver Tempest is going to be my new Evolving Skies when it was at 105. Lost Origin has nothing on BS in my opinion. It's hard to compete with Charizard, man. Team meeting made me late. What the heck, John? I was like, where's my boy in the chat? He ain't here? What the heck? The disrespect, dude. Got so many Gudras, dead guy says. Yo, have you noticed something? The initials for Lost Origin LO's the initials for Silver Tempest. Oh, Lost. That's interesting. I opened 500 packs of Brilliant Star and got 3 Rainbow Zards and 1 Arceus Altart. Yeah, I mean, that's hard to compete with that. See, you had a better experience than I did. My experience was I've opened over 1,100 packs, and I've pulled 1 Rainbow Charizard, probably 1,200 packs. I've opened 1 Rainbow Charizard, and I've opened 1 alternate art. I feel like I can't keep up with the set, Sebastian says. I completely get that, Sebastian. Yeah, they're definitely pumping out a ton of sets, and I feel like quality over quantity is the biggest issue that the Pokemon company is facing right now, and they need to figure it out. I want to complete a set, but it's expensive, plus every new set comes out within months. Yeah, I feel that, man. With BS and Evolving Skies, booster box price is rising, and while a lot of ETBs have been printed, is that changing your mind on ETBs usually being a better long-term hold? No, not at all. I've said this before and I'll say it again. There's just more ETBs being reprinted nowadays because a lot of the ETBs have started to see more price movement nowadays because of their popularity, and then the ones that are seeing a lot of price movement. So you're seeing 2 things. Let me rephrase that, John. You're seeing either one of 2 things. One, you saw a overinflation in value in terms of a lot of ETBs because of supply chain issues, and so they needed to address that by reprinting ETBs that were going for 130, 140, which should have not been there at all in the price point. And then 2, you see a lot of high demand ETBs like Evolving Skies, for example, that because it's such a high demand set, you're seeing price action of it move up quicker than most sets, and for that reason that needs to be addressed. Because Evolving Skies is a high demand set, and I do expect the booster boxes to be printed more than the ETBs, no question about it. I could be wrong on that, and you could see that happen, but you also have to look at it from the perspective of how do you want to compare it. Do you want to compare it from MSRP to MSRP? Because if you compare it MSRP to MSRP, then you're saying to yourself, 144, you're going up to $200. I mean, what's that about a 40% increase in price versus you say 40 to 70? You're talking about a 60 to 70% percentage gain. ETBs have still performed better if you're comparing MSRP to MSRP pricing. Now the question is, of course, were you able to get it? If we're talking market to market, then sure, you can say, you would have had a better opportunity right now as we're speaking if you had gone in at 105 Evolving Skies when it was there for about a month. But at the end of the day, do you think it could potentially get back down to that price? I mean, depends how much we really expect the Pokemon company to reprint it. Because there's an argument to be made that, yeah, that's exactly what we could see again, while the ETB just continues to climb in price after it had its reprint. So, of course, time will be the biggest thing that is going to tell me whether I'm right or wrong on this, but Pokemon Company still hasn't changed things on how much they're printing ETBs. They've just obviously adjusted to supply chain issues. I remember buying ES at 95 back in December. Should have bought more boxes. You and me both, Evo. Yeah, I put a pause on binder collection because it's coming so fast, putting up on these sets 2 years, so it's hopefully cheaper. Yeah, I mean, that's why if I do collect binder sets, it's for the ones that have been printed into the ground that are really easy to collect and are cheap, like Vivid Voltage, Shining Fates, Darkness Ablaze, Champion's Path, like sets that were, something I could collect for only a couple $100. You're mainly paying for the number 1 most expensive card or the top 2 or 3 most expensive cards, and then you're good to go. They need to stop messing up my trainer galleries and chase cards. I feel that. I found one Evolving Skies ETB bundle at Costco yesterday, but it was in the returns. When I looked at it, it looks like someone resealed it and returned it, didn't purchase it. That sucks, Scratch him, dude. I can't believe people do that. That's so scummy. That just upsets me. But, I mean, you know how people are, man. You know how people are. And then what's the worst part about it, because I've heard people do stuff like that before, and what really upsets me the most is their like rationale for it is they're saying, well, I'm hurting big box retailers, so I feel good about my decision. And it's like, that's their justification. I'm like, no, you're hurting people that are actually Pokemon fans, and you're trying to find a justification for why what you're doing is morally just, and it upsets me. But that's just a whole different discussion we don't need to get into. So that's just a whole different conversation. But yeah, I don't know, man. It sucks that people do that. They steal and rob, and hurts people in the hobby. But yeah, I mean, Silver Tempest, you're hearing it here first, guys. Silver Tempest 9750. This is my new #1 pickup. This is my current #1 pickup. No question about it. Not even close. I'm so high on this right now. It's not even crazy. It's just like, it's crazy. I mean, sorry. Bought 5 seal cases of Evolving Skies last year for 90 per booster box. Glad I pulled the trigger. Well, the question is, are you still holding on to them, or did you open them? Because now might be the best time to sell. Because that is incredible. Congratulations to you on that one, my guy. Basically, the whole palette of chilies was there. Oh, yeah, scratch them. I definitely feel that. I'm opening packs of Shining Fates till I get every card missing 9. Got 2 master sets of celebrations and 254 packs. I'm missing 1 card from Pokemon Go. Dang, man said I'm here to I'm here to to blow all my money. That's crazy expensive, dude. Joshua says, psst, like the video. Well, shout out to Joshua, and then make sure to leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate the support. Oh, was the chill music paused, or did I never have it playing? Whoopsie. That's not bueno. That's no bueno. So are you telling me to go buy 5 cases of Silver Tempest? I'm not saying go buy 5 cases of Silver Tempest, but I am saying that at least non-financial advisor, I would recommend having at least some of them. Last month I bought some Evolution Holo Charizards looking low for $40 near mint, and now they're already selling for $50. What do you think of its price chart? For some Evolution Charizard, let's take a look at it. Let's go to Pokédata. What does Pokédata have to say about what you just said? All right. Question is, are we looking at TCG or Raw? Because if we're looking at Raw, or if we're looking at TCG, the price on the, I mean, who knows on what this really looks like? So it's really hard to say. I feel like PSA 9 value is just such an easier look. Yeah, the price of this card is still absolutely in the dumpster fire. Yeah, this card is still a dumpster fire, no question about it. It's crazy to me that this card was almost $400 in an 8. That is so dumb to me. I'm curious, what are they saying Raw is compared to TCG? Oh, they're almost identical. Interesting. I mean, you're saying it's selling for $50+. I assume you're going off a TCG player. I mean, we obviously haven't seen that price correction yet then. I mean, we'll see. We'll see, man. As you can see, it has its waves of ups and downs. So only thing I gotta say with that is we'll see. Only time will tell. One thing I will tell you, though, it is quite interesting. If you hit that 9, I guess you are getting value on it, but we know from experience that this Charizard, it was extremely hard to grade. Had a lot of issues. So the question is, how hard is it to even get a 9? I mean, I think you picked it up for a good price, don't get me wrong, John, but I mean, just based off of what the 9 is telling me on the chart, and even the 10, and just the general the price action of everything, I'm not putting too much weight in it. With the hollow foil, you know, it's still sitting low at $36 for a near mint. How much actually is that going for in a 10? I'm curious. Is it harder to get the reverse hollow 10? I'd have to imagine because of scratches. Look at it as a 9. $30, you grade it for 22. 10, okay. 79. Huh, interesting. Quite fascinating to say the least. I'm holding. I had like 15 loose boxes and kept the cases sealed. I actually fell more in love with the EV Heroes, so I stopped opening Evolving Skies. Hey, nothing wrong with that, brother. Super expensive, but I love opening packs, bro. I feel that. John Boy, financial advisor. Are the EV VMAX Premium Collections getting reprinted, or is it just a small wave restock? I mean, it's hard to say, man, because it's at Walmart currently, as far as we know. That's it. That is it. It's just Walmart. So you can say that its potential is just a small resupply, but even then, you've seen price corrections being made. I'm actually curious to see what it's selling for right now. I mean, prices are going down. That's what's important, is prices are going down. Question is just how quickly are they gonna fall, you know? Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to say, man. I mean, last time we saw something that was Walmart exclusive print, it was the ETBs for Sword and Shield base, and they went from 140 to 40, so it's entirely possible you could see something like that happen. But obviously, these are extremely high demand, so, you know, maybe $60 drops down to. I mean, what are they at? 70 right now? $80? Yeah. Still a ways away from that price point. We'll see though. Do the reprints only come out in America and also in Europe? Because I'm in the Netherlands and I've seen nothing of the last reprints. So Europe and the United States, they have different times of reprints. So reprints are completely different. So when I make reprint announcements, it's only for the United States. Everything's done completely differently. Oh, I didn't mean to click on that. Quite interesting. What was I gonna say? There was something I was gonna say that I forgot to say. Quite interesting that Evolving Skies, though. That's one thing I will say. That it's still can't break above 200. I'm tempted to grab some Silver Tempest. Now, been saying price will jump once probably Lugia Altar gets revealed. That's kind of it, man. That's my thought behind it. That's just kind of my opinion on it. Aging Crypto says, hello. What's up, Aging Crypto? Thanks for stopping by. Man, what is with the chatbots these days, man? They are persistent today. John Boy says, how's the bulk going? I mean, the bulk is going fine. Obviously, we're sold out, and I've had 5 people message me on if we're going to open up soon. So the demand for the bulk sales has been pretty high. If you pre-order a booster box right now for Silver Tempest and the price goes up, say in a week, do I have to pay extra or do I only pay when it comes out? No, Cash. So how it works is you buy it, you put the money down right now, especially if we're talking eBay, and then that's the price you buy it for. And then if the price goes up $50, well, congratulations, you bought in when it was $50 cheaper. Patrick says, thanks for the content, my guy. Do you think the Giratina will perform like Umbreon? It's a great question. I think it's entirely possible, but it has nothing to do with the fact that the Umbreon is less of demand or they're of equal demand. It has to do with the fact that there's so much scarcity in terms of the Giratina. That's what I would say. You don't need Lugia reveal Silver Tempest is good. I mean, we don't even know what's in the card. I mean, his name's Meme Nazi. He's just trolling. Does anyone know if we can get more than one Charizard ship the same address? Yes, I saw someone that was commenting about it on a thread I read, and every week it refreshes. Did my Poofy Wi-Fi. Oh, I'd like to think Alt Art could perform like Umbreon. Yes, I do agree with that, John. I do think that's possible. Hey, like I said, not financial advice, man. I'm just looking at history, and history tends to repeat itself, and this looks like something that's gonna repeat itself. I mean, heck, man, if I'm wrong, though, you're getting a Lugia set in at 9,750, and it drops lower than that, then I think that's awesome, because I think the set will do well long term. You have to ask yourself, even if you don't believe what I'm saying, right? Just believe in this. Do you believe that Lugia is a high demand character card? Because history will tell you that it is. Considering the fact that if you look at New Genesis First Edition Lugia, when you take a look at the Lugia EX card, when you take a look at just Lugia cards in general, historically have performed extremely strong. Lost Thunder has performed extremely strong before the print. Ancient Origin, Lugia was one of the top most expensive cards, and it was just a fuller. It wasn't even like a mega or anything. I mean, I don't think I have to make arguments for it, but I feel like, for those of you that are speculative of, is Lugia a character card that's strong? For those of you that are new, it is. Is that also how it works on TCG Player? Yes, it is. However, I think TCG Player, go for whichever's cheaper right now. And if you can get it off-site so you can avoid sales tax because you're buying it from another site that doesn't have to collect, then do that. Do you think there will be another Evolving Skies reprint? Yes, no question about it. Question is how big and when. I wouldn't be surprised if we see one in the next month or two. I made my prediction video on that, I think. Was it on stream, actually? I did it on Tuesday where I made the prediction. Every week's SD refreshes to be yeah, exactly. Yeah. See, I need to do that myself. I haven't been doing that. I'm curious, John, what do you do when you buy? Because in order for it to get shipped to you, you obviously have to buy a product. What's the product you buy? Do you just find whatever hits the $25 free shipping threshold, or do you just buy something extremely cheap and not care about having to pay for shipping? I'm curious how you go about doing that. Why do they keep reprinting Shining Fates ETBs and all the new collection boxes are trash? Oh, that's a great question. I have no clue. Man. Why do they keep? Because Shining Fates is, it's already affordable, and the, set itself is extremely cheap to master set, so it made 0 cents to me. It made 0 cents to me. I mean, just look at the shiny ball, man. This is the most expensive card in the set. So at around $100. Everything else other than that is like $10. Alex Meister, algorithm comment. Well, I appreciate it, Alex. Arceus V-Box, baby. It's a very light box. My STC has arrived safe with it for $6, and the card itself sells for $60. Get it, Eli. Well, now I gotta go get it. Well, when you put it that way, it's free real estate. Oh, John, hey man, that's crazy. I gotta go do it, dude. I get a plushie because they just toss in the SDC into the box. Is there a correlation between sealed product prices and top value cards of sets? No, not at all. I mean, no, not at all. I will say that. However, that doesn't necessarily mean that if a set is reprinted in the ground and the most valuable card goes down and the sealed product goes down, that it's because of a correlation. It just is because of supply. However, let's say the value of a specific alt art is going up in that set and it's one of the main chase ones, that doesn't automatically mean that the booster boxes are also going to go up in value. Because as we look with Aerodactyl, and the Aerodactyl card doubled in value. It's one of the top card pulls. Giratina has gone up in value quite recently, and the price of Lost Origin hasn't changed. So, Brilliant Stars cards have been going down drastically in price, and the Brilliant Star booster boxes have been going up. Evolving Skies, prices on everything has been going up, both for sealed and both for cards. So, as I gave just 3 examples of where they're either following one way or following another way, and it's just different. It's just, there's no correlation. It's like for every 10 product, we'll get one that's decent. Agent. Well, Agent, you want to get really tilted with me? They just announced another product that they're going to be pushing. It's called the Vmax Dragon Premium Collection. Want to see what's in it? It's a Target exclusive. Comes with the Duraludon promo card of a card we've already seen. And what do you know? Pack selection, Astro Fusion, and Brilliant. You tilted yet? You tilted yet, bro? The only non-full RV I'm missing is the Thievul from Shining Fates, but I'm missing all the Vs and VMAXs. Hey man, they're cheap to get. I just bought the set. It was so cheap for me to buy. What's your favorite alt art that you think is currently undervalued? Undervalued? Oh. Because if you said favorite alt art, I mean, it's the Moonbryon as a huge Eevee fan. However, saying undervalued... Oh, let me shake the camera. Undervalued alt art? Undervalued alt art. I guess. I mean, here's the question. Do you think the Tyranitar alt art is overvalued or undervalued? Because there's an argument to be made that most alt arts are valued at what they're valued for a reason, because of their demand. Tyranitar, I mean, it was the first alt art. It had a really amazing design. Is it overvalued? Is it undervalued? I mean, it's not to say that it's like dirt cheap, especially since the price of it has obviously been climbing within the last month, but you know, for a while there it was going for around the $60-ish price point range. Hard to say. I mean, that's one of the first ones that comes to mind. Or another one you can say is the Empoleon from Battle Styles. But you know, then you go to Chilling Reign, and you say, okay, well, what about some of the Chilling Reign alt arts? You know. Do you think the Moltres is overvalued, undervalued? It's a hard one to say, man. Because at this point, it's no longer, I feel like, talking about is it over, undervalued, and it now comes down to print. Because I would say that the reason, obviously, why all these alt arts are cheaper is because they were easier to pull than current modern day ones, and they've been printed so much more heavily. Now, considering the fact of the matter that Astral Radiance, as it stands, has only had one print, right? And we're saying to ourselves that for a one print set, that these alt arts, which are harder to pull than the general larger alt art sets, you know, Fusion Strike and older, is there an argument to be made that, hey, why is the Hisuian Sneasler only $10 cheaper than an Origin Form Palkia V alternate art with an amazing art design? And it's just continuing to go down in value after it's only had one print. You know? Because there's an argument to be made that this is a very much undervalued card, because it's one that can be tagged on with the V-Star, which is super competitively viable right now. It's one that's got a really a cool MC Etcher design to it, which I think it holds value if we do say that alt art artworks that are cool should hold value. And then on top of that as well, the fact of the matter that there's such a thin spread between some of the other alt arts that I feel as if are overvalued by that extent. That's how I would look at it if you're talking about what's truly undervalued. But I don't know, it's a hard one to say because Astral Radiance has obviously been the weakest of the newest alt art design sets that have recently come out within 2022. So maybe it's appropriate, but you know, it's hard, man. It's a hard question to ask. Because a lot of people really were turned off by the Origin Form design. And I'm one of those people. I don't know. It's a hard question. I wish I could answer it more in depth, but I have to answer your questions with questions. I mean, we can take a look at Fusion Strike, maybe. Maybe the Espeon, but I don't know. The Espeon feels about right. Celebi, I guess. Celebi would probably be up there, but hasn't the price of Celebi gone up or has it gone down? It's definitely gone up since its bottom, but... what do you think of the Marnie Premium Tournament Collection? Are you talking about like the Milk Marnies? Or are you talking about the one with the playmat? Because I love them both. I think they're great. The Medi for me is undervalued and a great art. What's the Medi? The amount of cards you're including energies from a case of booster boxes is, yeah, it's crazy, dude. Yo, 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 what is up, Tom? Thanks for stopping by, brother. Have you heard of the Marnie Juniper boxes could be unsealed storing due to poor glue seals? Someone has mentioned about that. Oh yeah, dude, it's bad. Like, the glue is super thin. I've had that experience more with the Junipers than I have had the Marnies, and it's definitely scary. That's why you have to be careful who you buy from. What's another underrated TCG? What other products are you going to sell at your card shop? We're going to sell, so the main things we're going to sell is we're selling Magic the Gathering, we're going to sell Yu-Gi-Oh!, we're going to sell Pokemon, and we're going to sell Flesh and Blood, and then MetaZoo, and then we're going to try and expand from there. Those are the main 5 we're going to be pushing, though. We'd love to get into Dragon Ball, but those are the main 5 that we know for certain we're going to sell. But yeah, I mean, if you're talking about what I think is undervalued, it's hard to say because it really comes down to, do you believe in the game as a whole or not? Because for those of you who have been listening to me for a while, you know where my stance is on Tales of Aria and Flesh and Blood. You know, Monarch had a huge, massive reprint for first ed and has absolutely tanked as well. Now going for sub 100. At one point it's going for 6. So I don't know, but it's just, do you believe in the games? You know? I believe in Flesh and Blood. But what do you know? I think any altered under $10 is a value, and Jirachi's undervalued, but not by today's standard, but what they'll do in the future. So any alt art is under $10. So what are you saying, like the Greedent and like the Greedent and the, gosh dang it, Eli, I do this every freaking time and it upsets me. I always click sealed product on accident. And the Sanaconda. It's entirely possible that you can make that argument. I thought about that, but I just hate the cards so much, it's hard for me to make that argument as well. But yeah, it's an alt art going for $6. When does the Japanese Silver Tempest set release, or does it release at the same time? So the second half of the Japanese set, which will be our Silver Tempest set, because how they do it, Kosh, is Japan has half and then half, but America is lazy and we just release it all as one whole. It's going to be released, the second half with the Alt Art Lugia is going to be released on October 21st, so we should know sometime by that week what's going to be in it. I've thought about getting some Japanese version alt arts much cheaper, since people most likely artwork those cards, not wording. Might be good play Jap grades well too. I mean, that's a fair argument to make if you're talking about Japanese cards for sure. As long as the value's right there. Yeah, I've heard about that, Evo. I like them as a long-term investment, but it's definitely tough knowing where to buy them from. Yeah, so many spams today. Is it the one same spam that is coming, or in the or do we have a mod that's banning them? Do you think Fusion Celebi will hit a new low with the next reprint? Better just buy it right now? It's a good question, John. I think it can definitely hit another low for sure. I mean, that's exactly what happened with Battle Styles. Got one open too. 4 was shipped into a display case. Yikes. I got the XC2 music playing. Oof. Let's do that instead. I didn't realize what was going on. It's on a queue, I apologize. How do you feel about Disney Lorcana? I have no clue what that is, so I couldn't tell you how I feel about it. Disney Lorcana? Knowing Disney, it's probably overpriced. Interesting. Disney cards, that's cool. I think they could be cooler from an artistic perspective. As someone who's a huge fan of Disney, I want to like them, but also at the same time, I feel like the art designs are not there yet. But it could be something cool. With print waves now looking like first is the largest, do you think singles better to buy a few weeks after first release or still a few weeks after? Well, it's hard to say, John, because I guess the question really comes down to this. And this was the experiment I was more or less saying when I had Nostalgianomics on the stream. I had said this. I said, hey, do you think that alt arts are valued by the beauty of the art design? Or are they valued by the fact that they're alt arts and they're scarce and etc.? Because here's the thing, John Doe. We obviously had, if you were in the loop and you had watched the videos saying that, ooh, the pull rates are rough, then I feel like you could have made that prediction of when the best time to buy the Aerodactyl was. Because if we go to Lost Origin, because this is a good question to ask, because of course my biases are changing. Lost Origin, the card itself, the set came out on the 9th. The pre-sale for this card was $79, so the pre-sale price was cheaper than the release sale. If we go with the Giratina, the pre-sale price was what, $223 right on release date, $191. When did it really start to gain value? Release date, shortly after release date. And then if we go Astral Radiance on the Machamp, it was super cheap right before the lead up of the set release. There's now an argument to be made that if you believe in an art design, that you buy it on pre-release based on what the numbers are saying here. I hate saying that because pre-release is usually the worst time to buy, but look at what the Machamp did and look at what the Aerodactyl did. I think those are both great examples of amazing art designs, but you have to hit on it. You have to know in your heart this is an amazing art design. Because if you miss and hit something like a Dialga, look what the Dialga's done. Personally speaking, you guys know what my opinion was on the Aerodactyl. I would never shut up about it as an art design being gorgeous. So in terms of the Giratina, sure, the Giratina's done better, but it's gone up, what, 20% compared to the Aerodactyl, which doubled in price? You go for those double in prices. You feel better about those. And so, honestly, if you are going to play the game, you got to play the art game now. And you got to look at it from the perspective of, do you think there's art value in the game now? To a full extent of where pre-release is going to be cheaper, especially with Wave 1 being around. So it's a good question to ask, John. I think that's the game you have to play now. It sucks, but that's how it is. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap it up with these last couple of questions, and we're going to call it. I'm pushing 2 hours. Lorcana is the attempt to challenge Magic, and the first 7 cards went nuts on eBay. Really? Interesting. So did it just come out, Wolfie? Holy crap. Well, I'm not surprised that it's expensive, considering the fact that, you know, as a brand as a whole, Disney's huge. And the fact that they're trying to get into that space is smart. Do you know who their distributors are, or is it only sold specifically by Disney? Which wouldn't surprise me because Disney's greedy as frick. What sets are having reprints upcoming fall December? We don't know their song, you know, but probably a lot. We'll keep you posted if you follow the channel, though. Imagine the guillotine was metal, right? But yeah, I'd be curious to see how you get your hands on those cards. Huh, I'll have to look into it more. Wow, so this really is a new thing. Huh. That's crazy. Ari Sky, what the frick, man? Thanks for the stream. Just got here and started chatting not that long ago, too. Big sad. I noticed your short videos get more views, so thanks a lot for taking your time for long form chats for us. Also much appreciated. Yeah, of course. I appreciate you guys. I'm always here to answer all your guys' questions. Yeah, no, it's very interesting to see on what my videos pull in for views. I mean, honestly, I think it's hard to say, John, because I've had experiences both ways, you know? Like, if you look at my most recent videos, they've been popping off quite a bit. You know, I had one video that is about to hit 4,000 and it was a 22-minute video. But I have another video that was a 28-minute video and it's 3,500, right? And then I've got one video that's a 21-minute video that's 3,000, and another video that's 20-minute video, and then that's 3,300, and then my most recent video, which is at, what's it at right now? Let's take a look. It's at almost 1,800. Yeah, so I would say consistently, I mean, the 20-minute videos, I feel like they're pretty consistent in that regard. 20-minute videos are the way to go for sure. Yeah, big sad. Keep getting pulled into meetings. Crossing fingers can stay longer for next. Hey, you have a great one too, Gennaro. When's the Japanese Precious Collection box coming out? I forgot. I mean, you can easily look that up. I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. I don't remember. But, yeah, I'll have to definitely look into these English cards for sure. Or not English cards, sorry. I'll definitely have to look into these Disney cards. I'm a huge Disney fan myself, so it's something that I think could be really cool to look into, Wolfie. So shout out to you for recommending that. I'll definitely have to do my research. But as far as it goes, guys, that's it. I'm going to wrap it up. I want to thank you guys all once again so much for stopping by. Appreciate the love and support of the YouTube channel. I wouldn't be able to do it without you all. And as always, make sure to leave a like, comment down below, and subscribe to the YouTube channel. But that